All right, everybody. Welcome back to the show. On the line, I have Al Goodhall. How are we doing today, Al?
Doing well, Bruce. Doing really well.
Good. So I know many people know of you through your column on Truck News, and I'm interested to learn. We were just talking off air that I didn't really know. I don't really know a lot about you, so I'm interested. I love interviews because you learn so much about people in the industry by doing this. But tell us how you got into trucking. You've been driving for I think about 20 years or more. How did you get into the industry?
Well, I got into the industry like so many people out of necessity. I needed to earn a living, and I was looking for something different. I'd been in retail for 20 years, and our business had sort of wrapped up, and I was looking to do something totally different, and I found it in trucking. I always had a fascination with, equipment, heavy equipment, from afar sort of thing. So I thought, hey, here's an opportunity. Yeah. And I fell in love with it. Basically.
That's what I keep telling people. Just get started because you never know, right? You don't. I'm the same way. My parents were from Guyana. My dad's an accountant. My brother's an accountant. My mom worked for the airline. Nobody even mentioned trucks. Was not even a word mentioned in our household. And I just need to get a job, at the age of 17. And here I am, 55. I've been in this thing longer than I can count, and behind the seat for 25 years. So it's really interesting. Now you're on with J.R. Hall Transport. Where are they located?
They're located in Ayr, Ontario.
Okay.
Now, yeah. So sort of just on the outskirts of the town of Ayr. So it's a nice spot to work out of, actually.
Yeah, they've got beautiful trucks now. We'll get to your blog in a minute, but that's not the nicest picture you have on your blog of your truck, right? You got a pretty nice
I still have the winter picture up there, don't I?
Yeah, and I'm going, boy, that's really attracting people to the rig.
Yeah. The reality of the road.
Well, that's what I thought you were trying to show them, the reality of the road. Right?
Yeah. I gotta admit, I'm pretty lazy when it comes to. I gotta get to the blog more often and change the pictures regularly. But hey, in this business, where do we spend most of the time? It's behind the wheel, right? Thinking about what we'd like to do other than be behind the wheel at times, right?
Right. So where does your daily run? Because I think you run clear across Canada, right? Where do you go? What's your run?
Well, when I started, I've been with Hall for 15 years. So when I started with them, I did all open board stuff, and they specialize in Western Canadian freight. Like Ontario to Western Canada is, it's their core of their business. So I had family out in BC when I got on with them. My folks were still alive then, right? So it was perfect. I could run open board, take a day or two off out on the West Coast, visit family and so on. But then for the last 7 years, I've been doing Winnipeg and back every week. So I do a 5-day turn. I go from, our facility in Ayr up to Winnipeg and back, sometimes through the Midwest, sometimes it's through Ontario, So get to shake it up a little and keep it interesting.
Yeah, that's a nice run. It's funny, we all build our runs a lot of times based on where our family is. I used to, and I still do the same thing with my work. If my family lives in a certain area, I start building clients towards that way, right? So it's funny that you said that. That's how you got out to BC. How did you choose your current carrier? And I'm just curious because this show is for those new drivers, and they're wondering, how do I pick a trucking company? There's a million of them out there. I always say never by money. That's the last question you need to ask. There's a lot of other questions before that. How did you choose the one you're at? How did you know that was going to be a home for you?
Well, what a great question, because I don't have a magic answer. It was all about the school of hard knocks, right? And I have listened to your story, when you told your story, your history, your bio on the blog, on your podcast, right? And it's sort of the same for me, right? I work for several companies that most of them are out of business now, right? You work for them for a year or two and it's pretty good, but there's some stuff there that's, it's not the greatest place to work. You maybe not treated the greatest or whatever. So after 3 years, I just decided, look, I got enough experience. I've been all over North America. I can pick and choose what I want. And I decided I wasn't going to go on with anybody that wasn't actually going to sit down and talk to me and
Right.
find out what I was about, right? And that's how I narrowed it down. And it came down to a handful. And Hall's was perfect because, as I mentioned, my folks are still alive out in BC, right? So, and that was where they ran to. And they had no qualms about saying, when I asked them about, spending time off with family, they were all about family.
Yeah.
That was the original selling feature for me. So I thought, okay, let's see if this is for real, and it was, and I'm still there 15 years later.